and welcome back to the Tea and Soju podcast, Drama Trio Edition, where three friends chat Asian dramas and let you into that chatter. I'm your host, Liliana.
I'm Jess.
And I'm Caitlin.
And in today's episode, we are going back to what is dubbed as one of Chinese drama classics, and that is we're going to be reviewing The Princess Weiyoung. Is it the or just Princess Weiyoung? I think it is The Princess Weiyoung, or is it?
On
I
MDL,
don't
it's
actually.
I just say Princess Weiyoung.
Okay. We'll go with either.
Doesn't matter.
People will know what you're talking
Doesn't-
about.
Yeah.
I think so. It'll be fine. As you can hear, guys, this is going to be chaotic. We've been recording for a while. Let's put it that way. So yeah, but before we get into the episode, just some housekeeping. If you like the podcast, please like, share, and subscribe on the platform you listen. That really helps the podcast reach other listeners. For more content, check out Patreon, where you can find behind the scenes, first impressions, movie reviews, and more. And you could probably find a bunch of behind the scenes from this episode because it was a long chat. Finally, if you would like to chat to me or find a community, check out Discord, Instagram, and other socials. The link is in the episode notes. So, guys, are we excited to start this?
Yes.
This is
I'm pumped. I've been pumped for weeks.
Jess has been ready to record this episode for weeks. So this came out. When was it? Where did we mention this? Was it in the genre episode?
Either
I
that
think
or I think it was a genre episode.
I think it was the genre episode with Becky.
Yeah, I think it was Jess kind of talked about it, and then Caitlin was like, "Yeah, I watched this. I love this," and I was like, "This sounds like kind of fun. We should probably watch it and review it." And I started it maybe a week after that, or even that week.
I think
we sort of
that
recorded.
weekend you started.
Yeah, I
it.
think
it
I
was...
started it. I think I started it. So I was like, "Yeah, let's record this." So I have thoughts. Jess has thoughts. We're laughing already because the conversation on Instagram between the three of us in this drama has been interesting. There's been a lot of rage on my side. Let's put it that way, which I feel like it's accurate with this drama, but we'll see. So before I get into that, let's do the MDL description, which is quite short actually, but it says the Northern Wei dynasty was obliterated one night, leaving behind the kind-hearted Princess Feng Xin Er as an orphan. Although she escapes death, she accidentally enters her enemy's territory and she assumes the identity of Li Weiyoung, the daughter of the Prime Minister. She suffers many hardships, but eventually utilizes her wisdom and sense of justice to become a powerful woman, as well as gaining a beautiful romance. She suffers many hardships. Please put that in capital letters. It comes with a heavy dose of hardship. It is insane.
Yep.
So yeah. I was fairly new to most of these characters actually. I don't think I had seen any of this cast before, but as main roles we have Tiffany Tung playing Li Weiyoung, we have Liu Jin playing Tu Ba Jun, we have
Vanis.
Sorry, I'm pausing. Is it really his name? Surely that's not his name.
Yeah, it is.
Vanessa Wu.
Yeah.
Just ignore me. I'm having. I thought. Okay. As Tu Bao Yu, and then we have also Mao Xiao Tong as Li Chang Ru. I have thoughts on her character. I have beef with this character. I have beef with a lot of characters, but her. I have lots of beef with this character. We have Li Xian Hai as Li Changle, and we have Lian Liu as the Queen Dowager. I should have also popped the mother on here, but she goes away fairly quickly. So one thing I actually What? Who? What were you gonna
No,
say?
no, no. I was just going, well, main cast.
Yeah, so basically the main cast, I just popped that there because this is the first one that I've listened to in a while, and every single person is dubbed. There is
Yeah.
not one person on this cast that uses their real voice. And I wanted to put this in here to show how far things have come, because this is a 2016 drama. And nowadays, if you look at something like Love Like the Galaxy, see, you knew I was going to bring Brule back into this. Love Like the Galaxy, where actually a lot of the cast dub themselves. It's, there's been a swift, I think, change. But yeah, I wanted to put this here because I think, yeah, pretty much everyone was dubbed in this for the main cast. So
Mhm.
that was quite interesting. Now, for recognitions, this drama, I feel like I was looking and it's like it's got a bunch of awards. I think in 2017 it won Drama Fever, guys. You all remember Drama
Oh,
Fever.
my heart.
R.I.P. R.I.P.
Pulling strings,
Damn.
it won the best Chinese language drama in 2017 for Drama Fever Awards. In 2017, the Hyunding Awards, it won top 10 audiences favorite TV star for Tiffany Tang and best actress for Tiffany Tang. Like Tiffany Tang has a load of, accolades from this drama.
Mhm.
China for 2017 second China Quality Television Drama Ceremony. She won Media's Most Anticipated Actress. She also won Most Marketable Actress. So yeah, TV Actress of the Year for Suhu Fashion Awards. Just a bunch of awards for this. So this is 54 episodes, guys, of 40 minutes. MDL says 45. Don't be fooled because the beginning credits is almost 3 minutes long and the ending credits are the same. Like I am glad that is not a thing anymore. They stick to about a minute 20 now for credits. Um so yeah, like I said, this aired from November 11th, 2016 to December 9th, 2016. It was directed by Lee Hugh-soo, who's done Untouchable Lovers, Princess Silver, The Song of Glory, and Warm on a Cold Night. Have you guys watched any of those? I have not.
I've
I
I watched Untouchable Lovers. I don't remember if I finished it or not. I've
I have.
Princess Silver and the Song of Glory, even though I've heard mixed feelings about the Song of Glory.
mm,
Princess Silver's been on my list, plan to watch list forever.
Same.
And I just haven't clicked play.
Same.
maybe we need to revisit this one and add it to
Princess
the list.
Over. Yeah,
Yes.
I'm down.
Untouchable Lovers, I want to watch it, but not necessarily for the main couple. I want to watch it for all the secondary couple because of the secondary cast. Bai Lu started in this. Zhao Lushi started
Uh,
in this. Shu Kai started in this. Like a lot of breakout roles. Like this was it for them. So it has a bit of I just want to watch it for curiosity of how they were in like those roles more than anything else. So yeah. Now for screenwriter, the screenwriter is Cheng Ting Yu, and they've done Sweet Dreams, Princess Silver, Promise of Chang'an, and The Sword of the Brocade. I have watched Sweet Dreams, which is like a 2017 drama or 2016, and it stars like Dilrubber and Deng Lun. It's fun. It's fun. And I watched The Sword and the Brocade and I loved it, mainly for Tan Song Yoon, the female lead, more than the male lead. But yeah,
I've watched the
you've
male lead in a
watched.
few things, and like he's not my favorite.
No, no, no. He was okay. But like Tam Song Yoon is the heart and the soul of the Sword of the Brocade. Her journey, her story is like the heart and soul of that drama. That's why I loved it so much, I think. So yeah, that's a screenwriter. Now, this one is fairly available. It's on Viki, it's on Netflix, and it's also on the Croton Mega Hit YouTube channel, which is a mouthful. So yeah, that is, all the info out of the way. Now, shall we just do some general thoughts before we go, into spoiler territory? How did you guys check this already, guys? How did you guys find watching this like on a rewatch? Does it still, like, the question I think a lot of people will always ask if you're rewatching something is, does it still stand for you? Do you still get the same appreciation for it than you did the first time around?
Why don't you take it away, Caitlin?
Yeah, I mean, like, I honestly forgot some of it. Like, I forgot the whole thing with Changru. Like, I knew like her relationship with Vanis Wu's character, but I forgot like the switch that happened.
The one that you should have warned me about. I'm salty at you both for this.
So I forgot about that part. I knew like their ending and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I still enjoyed it. I still liked the main couple, of course. I still hated the same people that I hated the first time. I still love the costumes and the scale of it. I remember like watching this the first time and just being like in awe with the scale of the drama. So does it stand like still stand in 2024? I think in terms of like scale and this epic love story, yes, but like it does have issues in terms of like if you're looking for a tropey older drama and you like those types of tropes, especially when it comes to palace shenanigans, this is your jam. But if you're looking with a 2024 mindset and hate that type of stuff, it doesn't stand the test of time with that type of stuff because the palace shenanigans have changed. Like we still have them in 2024. It's just they've changed. But also this is based off a real queen. So I'm curious to see like what you guys think compared to what I've know about the real queen. So that'll be curious to talk about.
Cool.
What about you, Jess?
So I don't know shit about the real queen. And I've watched this. It's been many years since I've watched this. I think I watched this 2016, 2017, pretty close to when it aired. And it was one of the first 5 C-dramas that I watched. I think rewatching it, I was struck by how long it is. And not because I'm afraid of episodes that are 54, like shows that are 54 episodes long, not at all. I just think that if I looking at it from a 2024 lens, this one could certainly benefit from trimming a bunch of storylines that are very similar to each other. And the sensibilities that I have now are slightly different, and I probably wouldn't be as drawn to the central couple because they are so good. They're sort of infallible.
Yeah.
They're not painted in shades of gray. They are always righteous.
Yep.
They are sort of classic. They're classic archetypes, right?
It's kind of one of those characters where you knew they'd end up together. Like there was never a question of like, will she betray him? Will he turn evil once he got power? Whereas like dramas these days, you might not get that with historical C dramas. You might get them like everybody's dead at the end, or like the main character dies in the middle of it and the female becomes a strong ruler by herself. Like you never know.
Right.
To some extent.
There's a lot less unpredictability in terms of the characters and how are they going to behave. Like you kind of already can guess how they're going to behave in certain situations when obstacles are presented to them, and that I guess takes the fun out of seeing certain things crop up again in the plot. Which is why I say you can trim a few of these same plot lines that happen over and over, and you'd be fine with lowering the episode count to align with more 2024 standards today. However, I still love the messiness of this drama because it is fucking messy. Okay, like Like, there's a lot of this drama that is addictive because all hell breaks loose for these people in ways that, like, as an audience, you're like, you can see it happening in slow motion. Like, this is going to happen. This person's going to turn out to be bad, or you can't really trust this person and you're not following your own advice and you're doing everything wrong and you're not checking your six and all this stuff. But the messiness is what keeps you coming back for more, because you're like, how are they going to resolve this? How are they going to get out of this bind? How are they going to survive? And I think the revenge plot, I was more into it when I first watched it, and on rewatch, Weiyoung's revenge is not the type of revenge that I would want today, if that makes any sense.
I agree.
Because I am a bit more aggressive and violent today than I guess I was in 2016, 2017.
Yeah.
I was out for blood and I got none of it.
Right. There's a lot less just sort of like
satisfying.
Right. It's a lot more eye for an eye. Actually, it's not even eye for an eye. But I'll tell you, I kind of read it. I was still very easy on it, just not eating it up like I was in 2016, 2017. And I'll tell you why in the spoiler section. Very, I thought it was very well done. Like Caitlin said, the costuming is amazing. The scale of it is grand. And the set design, everything about it is really cool. There's a lot of characters coming in and out. And you're it's intriguing. Like, the story is really intriguing. And I do like where the character ends up at the end, which is a revenge in and of itself.
Right.
So those are my thoughts. I really still love this show, and it's very nostalgic to return to it.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay, Liliana, you're up. Can't wait to hear this.
I really enjoyed this show for the first 20 episodes.
20 episodes, okay.
When I tell you, I was just binging them like nobody's business. I was watching them back to back to back. And because at its core, it's Weiyoung's story. And I was like rooting for this character. I loved how smart and savvy she was.
Yeah.
How, and then it seems like they forget who her character is for the middle portion of the drama, at least. And I get it. She gets put in places that are really, really difficult to get out of. But to me, it also feels like, a different character. And that's my biggest gripe, I think, with this drama, is the fact that in that middle section of the drama, she kind of keeps getting put down and down and down and down. I get it, it's of the time. It would apply to like a 2016 drama, I suppose. And it's like you were saying, Jess, they're so good. Both of the characters are so good. It's like, even when it's to their detriment, they are still so good. And I'm like,
yes.
Why? Play the game, be evil. Like,
Right.
And I think that's what frustrated me. And I think it's probably because I can't kind of see it. This is the only like historical 2016 Chinese drama that I have. So there's nothing for me to compare it to apart from later dramas, if that makes sense. So I can't, like you guys, I can't place it in 2016 and be like, oh, this type of story was of that time, or this and this and that. So I don't have any of that placement to kind of put it against, if that makes sense. So to me, it's just like, what are you doing? Like, I can see it, and I'm like, it just needs a little tweak here and there. And I forget that it's a 2016 drama. I think that's my biggest issue, is that I forget it's a 2016 drama and not, a 2020 or a 2021.
Which is
even,
a nice problem to have, is that you're kind of bamboozled into thinking it's more recent.
True.
And you're just like, why aren't they making these decisions
Yeah.
about the plot. Why is the plot going in this direction? Why are these
You
characters
also
acting
have
this
to
way?
think of like, I mean, not that censorship is not playing a part in drama these days either, but like back then, that type of like the reason why I think you can tell there's so much more just and so much more I'm going to be good the entire time is censorship. Because the real history behind these characters, they weren't good people at all. They were not good people. Which I again can't wait to tell you the real story. But
So ready for that.
the censorship, I think you can tell played a very big part in this drama, especially with the two main characters. Because you like
Mm.
and that was kind of like by the times in terms of that time period. Like nowadays, you sometimes can get through censorship where like you might have some gray area, like the Kuning Palace
The
person.
Kuning Palace,
That
yeah.
would never have flown in 2016 censorship,
The
like
thing
at
is, see,
all.
a lot of people actually say that censorship is much tighter now than it was back then, and they actually could get
Right.
away with a lot more back then.
But
And
they
that's
couldn't get away in
why,
terms of like the righteous character. Like the two leads in 2016 C dramas, especially again, knowing the back history of what these characters were based off of, if they had shown what those real characters were and shown a bad light on Chinese history, especially because they
Hmm.
were based off of real people, at least back in the day, that would never have gotten
yeah,
through censorship
It's a
at
it's a form
all.
of propaganda for
Yeah,
China. Yeah.
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it
I get
shows
you.
like it's
I
very
get
very
you.
show and like yeah that's kind of what you see back in the day in 2016 2017 is that if you're definitely at least if you're talking about real people this is what you get.
Mm.
But I don't know. That I don't think that's just a China thing, though. I
Oh
think
no, not at all, not
that's
at
an
all,
Asia
but
thing in general that
not at
they,
all.
but I don't want to go down that route because, that's going to get, I think, messy, um, in a
True.
sense. But I do understand that, censorship always has an act to play in every single drama,
Oh yeah.
regardless of it being historical to modern to even fantasy. There's stuff you can't have. So I I don't know. I think to me it's plot problem and character problem, and it's that middle chunk of it. And that meant that by the end of it, I didn't really care what happened to the characters. I really didn't. I was like, you've kind of changed the female lead so much to me that I'm like, I'm invested in her and her alone. And that's probably about it. So I think I started off really strong. I really, really liked it. And then that middle part was lagging for me. And then actually it picked back up because she started using her brain again and plotting. And it was great to see her, you know. I will get more into it in the spoiler section because the stuff I want to say is probably spoilery and I don't want to spoil people. So let's rate it and then we can go into spoilers. So one teacup rating is didn't really enjoy it, but something somehow still kept me watching. Two teacups, it was okay, not really the best, but an okay pastime. Three teacup, good. I enjoyed this drama and would recommend to people who enjoy this genre. uh Four teacup, really enjoyed it. I loved it, would recommend to a wider audience. There may be a couple of problems, but overall still very much an enjoyable watch. And then five teacups, this rating is reserved for those dramas that I chased and just absolutely loved. I can ignore all problems with it because I love them that much. So Jess, what would you rate this drama?
4 teacups in 2016/2017. It would have been 5 teacups. I think now it's 4 teacups for me because it's still super enjoyable. I just think again, the plot isn't what I want to happen, and the characters don't behave the way I want them to. But I don't think it's necessarily wrong. Like the development of them, and I'll get into it in spoilers, I guess. We can talk it through in spoilers, but the development is still valid, just not my personal. Like if it was me in that situation, heads would be flying. But it's not me, it's these people, and they behave differently. So, and that is the way it is. So
Caitlin, what would you rate this one?
I also give it 4 teacups for basically the same reasons as Jess. Is like I probably would have been higher when I first watched this, but I've grown since that year and my mindset has changed. I still very much enjoyed it and it was very nostalgic for me, but yeah.
See, I don't have all of those feelings attached to watching it back then, I don't think. I I'm toying between two ratings. So I'm gonna go with what I gave it on MDL, so a 3 teacup, because it lands in the bracket that I gave it on MDL. So 3 teacups, that's what I would rate it. Which is bang middle of the road, so it's still fairly good. Because I did love Weiyoung. Like I loved Tiffany Tung.
he's
So yeah,
great. Yeah, like we'll talk about it. We can talk
so
about it.
yeah, that to me she carried the drama. So,
Mhm.
I will still give it 3 teacups for that reason. So yeah, that's it. Let's get into spoilers because I bet we're all dying to, spoil the heck out of this. It is a 2016 drama, but it's nice to have like a little guys, this is your warning. We're now going into spoilers. If you haven't watched this or you don't want to be spoiled, then please, walk away, go watch it, come back. Or if you don't mind spoilers, then listen on ahead. So I put questions down, but we can just go whichever direction. We don't have to go in
Yeah,
the order
so
that I sort of put down at all.
the theme word for this show is framed, because everyone and their
Yeah.
mom
Yeah.
got framed for
Yeah.
something
Constantly. It's like
constantly.
on loop. And people get framed for the same things. I'm like,
Over and over. No one's learning how to not get framed.
let's innovate a little bit. let's make these I especially with I need to go back up to the character list because I forgot her name. Oh, Lee Changler, which is
Yep.
like, is she the evil elder sister?
Yes,
Yes.
the
She is,
elder
she is.
sister.
So basically, her mother does all the things and then gets scrapped away. You know, she needed to.
This was funny to me because I was like, how
Same.
does she die? I couldn't
Same.
remember how she died.
Me
Because
too.
I was like, I know that she dies half, like, through the show. She just sort of wastes away. And I was like, how does that happen? And then I was watching it and I was like, oh, that's right. She tries to frame Weiyoung by poisoning herself.
Yep.
And so because she poisons herself, she fucking poisons herself to death. Like that, the reverse Uno card. Like Lee Weiyoung had nothing to do with it. Weiyoung had nothing to do with it. All she had to do was sit back and wait for time, because that bitch just poisoned herself to death trying to frame Lee Weiyoung.
Yep.
And that's how she died.
And then Chandler is like, it's all your fault my mother is dead. No, it's not.
Are you
Right.
out of your mind?
Herself.
Are you out of your mind?
What's wrong with these people? Oh, so I think like for the first 10 to 15 episodes, I hated everyone.
No one is
Everyone
likable.
and their mother.
No one is.
Nobody. And I'm like, Weiyoung is the only character I'm rooting for right now. And then, I liked the wrong person because Blooming head, I never saw that coming.
You did it?
I completely forgot that happened.
What?
Like I completely, because I remembered the eldest sister. And I remembered the ending for Changru and Vanna Swoo's character, but I could not for the life of me remember the in-between. And I was
Oh
like,
my
holy
God.
crap! That
Yeah,
I
I've
remember
been
that now.
used.
Oh my god!
When
I've been
okay, so
used.
when Lee Chang-ru came on the screen, I was like, oh, here comes that bitch again. Because even though I was like, I don't remember all of the details of what she did. What I
Mhm.
remember is she's a two-faced bitch and she's lying about this relationship, like being friendly and buddy with Lee Weiyoung. And she
Yep.
betrays her. Like I would just remember the broad strokes.
See, this is where, like, all the historicals that I've been watching lately have fooled me because all of them have really loving siblings, like
No, this
supportive
is
No.
this is
siblings.
typical. This was how it
I
Endless
used to be.
shenanigans,
forgot.
typical.
I
Yeah.
forgot that siblings tend to be ridiculously
Yeah.
jealous of each other
Uh-huh.
and backstab each other like nobody's business. And I was like, I should have seen this coming, but I've been lulled into this false sense because, again, I keep forgetting that this was a
This is a new
2016
thing.
drama.
This is a new thing.
Yeah,
Oh, that
it
brothers are
is.
good to each other, sisters are like
Yes, it's a new
supportive and
thing.
whatnot.
That's a new
It's a
thing.
new
Well,
Yeah.
thing.
I'm currently watching Joy of Life season 1, which is 2019. So it's still a little bit later than this
That
one.
was a new thing.
And
Joy of
they're
Life
all
has
like, they're great. All of
yeah,
the
no.
siblings are buddy buddies.
Yeah.
And I'm like, good, great, I love this. So I was like, you know, I completely forgot that this is not the norm for back
Yep.
then dramas, that people tend to, hate each other
You got to
and
watch
stab each other
yourself.
like
And
Yep.
that's
nobody's
the theme of the show
business.
is that like you can't trust family.
Right.
You can't even
You
trust
can't
your
trust
lover,
anybody.
let
You
alone
Can't trust
can't trust
anybody.
anybody, especially in the palace. You can't trust anybody. Not even a servant. Like
No.
nobody. The only people you can
nobody,
trust for the most
nobody.
part is those servants serving those ladies were loyal as hell. That was about it.
Not even that.
Except for that
Not
one
even
who kind
that.
of just loved the
Exactly.
person and went away. But like the main servant people who stayed the entire time were loyal as hell.
I I will say, I was mad for a lot of the show because everybody's
Okay.
just
So that's the
despicable.
thing, right? Is no one how do I put this? A lot of people drama watchers in general don't like to watch a show that makes them upset for the entirety of the show. And that's what the Weiyoung is. Weiyoung makes it's just highly upsetting
Yep.
for the entire show.
Yep.
The
The
thing is,
entire
I
show.
don't mind that. I don't mind that, but I need you to give me the payout. And I don't feel like this gave me the payout.
It's
The end.
it's very only at the very like last episode. The last episode. And there's a couple of episodes where you get some reprieve.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not like bulk of the show, you think something's going right, and then all hell breaks loose. Everything goes wrong. And then when you think something's going wrong, 20 other things go wrong in the show. That's what Lee Wei Young, Princess Wei Young is.
It is. And I feel like this is I see, I will say this. I find it interesting that Jess loves this so much, but will not watch Mac Jung dramas because this is a bloody Mac Jung. It
But
is.
you see, when I watched this show, I was watching Makjang dramas.
Okay.
I was in my Makjang era.
It's like, this is just historical Mac Junk to like on crack, basically. Because this takes Mac Junk and cranks it up to 100, I feel like. And like I said, I don't mind being mad at everybody. I don't mind all of that, but I need the payout. And by payout, I need everybody else to suffer really bad for all their actions. Like, I am, like what I said, I'm a vengeful person in sense when it comes to my dramas. Like, I need these people to be like groveling on the floor in pain. They all just simply die. They easily just die. I mean,
Okay, so here's what I think is first of all, I like I said before in the non-spoiler section, I agree with you. I want heads flying. I want people to be suffering. I want a disproportionate amount of pain for these people who are doing just vile, despicable things day in and day out throughout the plot against Weiyoung, against good people, against innocent people. Entire like civilizations are being crumbled and destroyed. The Liang people completely obliterated. There's people enslaved throughout the show that have they don't need to be enslaved. She's trying to bring about like an end to slavery of conquered peoples in the government. Like she's trying to affect change, right? And there's characters who like they'll do good things here and there and then they'll come into the court and be like, why are we trying to abolish slavery? Slavery is a good thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? And you're like, oh my God, this guy's the devil. So you want these people to go down. Agree completely. But the way that they take down these characters, I feel like has to do with their fatal flaws. Like with these little tiny chinks in their armor versus, you know, this over the top, you know, punishment. And you could see it in every single character. So like for the king, who you're kind of like, Grandpa King, get it together. How can you not see through all of these fake people around you, all of your family members who are lying to you? You basically killed your own crown prince son for nothing. And he's got this ego about him, and he, you know, he's making wrong decisions all the time. The only good decision he made was leaving Weiyoung alive. Yep. Like basically. He gets killed because he has all of these complexes around his family, and he's like, I don't want my sons to fight. You know, I got this throne through all these means, and I don't want my children to fight. And lo and behold, it's his son who ends up killing him. Even though the son was like, I never killed him, I didn't kill him. Yu is like, I swear to God, I never killed him. But it was his subordinate who took it upon himself to kill the king. Yep. So indirectly, his son killed him. The king brought it upon him. That's his fatal flaw. That was what he was most afraid of. He was paranoid about that.
Yep.
Every single character gets their punishment through their fatal flaw. And like Yu, I just mentioned Yu, which is Venice. He was a narcissist. He loved himself so much. He appreciated all of his prowess, all of his intellect. And he appreciated that in Changru as well. And he was like, how can I kill someone who's like myself? He said that multiple times. He's like, his subordinate's like, why don't you just kill her? She's caused you so many issues. She keeps going after Weiyoung. Just kill her. And he's like, how can I kill someone who's like, I appreciate her because she's just like me. He's a fucking narcissist. So he kept her alive. And to save Li Weiyoung, who, like, you know, through some weird, obsessive, possessive, lustful love he wanted.
That is not love. That is just obsession.
I'm just saying. Possession. I literally said obsessive, possessive, like lustful love, quote unquote. He goes to save her. Changru kills him. The person he could have killed 50 times over.
Right.
She does, but that is an accident. She wasn't meant to kill him. You know, she was aiming for Weiyoung.
He could have again.
The only thing he did right was stand in the way so she wouldn't kill Weiyoung.
And again, it is again for him. It's the only thing he did right was putting his body in between him and Changru. Finally, like putting himself in harm's way.
Yeah, right. For once.
Once.
But he did leave them a very good parting gift, I suppose, because he's like, well, enjoy it for now, because one of you is going to be dead anyways. So it's... so, you know, I don't know. I just feel like I needed...
He didn't know that both of them got poisoned.
True.
He did.
No.
He didn't he?
No, he didn't.
Nope. Chonglei did that on her own. Li Weiyoung was never supposed to be poisoned. It was always going to be June. She just did that on her own.
I missed that whole thing.
Yeah.
I missed that whole bit then.
Changla was like, of her own volition, she was like, how many, antidotes do we have to this poison? And her subordinate was like, girl, none, like one. And the antidote recipe is gone because your cousin is dead. And she's like, bet, let's poison Weiyoung.
So even
Okay.
even if she had married him, Vanis had married Wei Young, he would have only had her for a day, maybe a week. And then they both would have been dead.
Well, look, as the cousin knew the antidote, he could have made it, I suppose. But at that point, he was
He's
because he was
dead
the
though.
only
He
The
was
one.
cousin's
dead.
dead. The
Yeah, yeah,
cousin is
yeah.
dead. It's
I
gone.
meant no,
There
because
is no
Kate,
more
they must
antidote.
because because what? Wait, isn't the cousin the guy who knew the antidote is told by you, right? The one that died.
Nope.
No, the guy,
Nope. Nope.
the general made it. The cousin of
Ah,
Changla, not Toba
okay.
Yu. The
Oh,
general.
okay, okay, okay.
That was
makes
her
more sense.
family's poison. It had nothing to do with you.
Okay, that
was-
makes
it
more
Like
was
the
sense.
her
Toba family has
family.
nothing to do with that poison.
Yeah, it was the Chinyan?
Yes, I know what you're talking about. It starts with a C.
It's the general that I know which one you mean.
Yeah, it's the
That they
general
all
that came back with
killed.
a mask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know which character it is. Yeah, I do remember him. Okay.
Chinyu, Chinyu. Chiyyun.
Yeah,
Chiyu.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah, the Chiyu family.
Okay, that
Anyway,
makes
it was that
sense.
family poison.
Yeah, that
And
would
the
make
general
sense then.
gave it to Toba Yu to show like his loyalty to him.
Mhm.
To him, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so the Chiyun family had that poison, and Chanla was like, let's double dip here.
He was, I will say, I mean, she got off very easy. All she had to do was the classic, poison in a little cup, and off she goes, off she pops. She got off very, very easy, I think. Did
Again, for her,
but she died with no power. She was a
yes.
slave.
Yes.
Like she lost everything and had to die and probably never was in the record books or anything.
In squalor.
She left with no record, no name, like no story to her name, nothing. It was like her worst situation. And then she had to kill herself on top of that.
Maybe I think I'm more of what Jess is saying is that I don't really pay much attention, and clearly I'm more of a I need to see them suffer a little bit more than make it more obvious as opposed
I think
to
for their characters, it was fitting.
Yeah.
For their endings were fitting, and it's not as brutal as you want it to be, but for them, it's hitting them where it hurts.
Yeah.
But see, to me, I feel like it would have been harder on her to not die, to have to live, and to have to live in those consequences. Because I feel like to me, to all of the characters, because they all end up dead, I feel like that's like the easy way out for all of them. And yes, I get what you're both saying that, they die in their, through their weakness or, the thing that's going to hurt them the most. But to be alive, like for a character like Chungla, for example, where she would be in that place, she would have no power, she would have nothing. To be alive would be way more of a fitting punishment, and to have to live with all of that than, to die. But I also understand that
you can see her earlier when they sent her away doing all of that menial labor out in the countryside and literally cleaning shit, and how it broke her and how it humbled her, and how her mom Chiun-ru was like, this needs to happen because now she'll never let this happen again. She needs to like rise up from this and learn to humble her spirit and just sort of temper her temper, I guess.
Yeah.
How she also wanted to put it, because she was constantly like acting out versus biding her time and making plans and scheming and plotting. which is what she does when she comes back from the countryside and this terrible ordeal
Yeah.
that she went through. And did you think she was going to go back to that? Cleaning up shit in the countryside and being a slave? She was already relegated to that class and living without any sort of comforts. You could see the entire where she was living, squalor,
Yeah.
probably being starved
Mm.
for I don't know how long. No servants and no finery. And I think she had the only way she could not do that and go back to that was admitting that she killed his mom. Finally admitting that she killed his mom. And
Mm.
that's what she does in that scene. He's like, "You're finally admitting that you murdered my mom." And he knew she would
Yeah.
do that. The poison was waiting outside. He didn't come there with no plan. He came there to get the confession.
Right.
Yeah.
So I love
I
that.
think ultimately for me, this is a drama about it's not a love story. I don't class it as a love story like MDL does. I class it as people being obsessed with people and being uh they want what they want and they will stop at nothing to have that. And if they can't have it, then no one else can have it.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, Chung-Lei, Chung-Woo, both of them obsessed with the wrong people. Because both of them, they were not in love. They were obsessed. And I think, you know, and then we have Tao Yu, who's obsessed with Weiyoung. And it's like, I feel like everybody's obsessed with somebody in this drama. And then you just have like the main couple who, yes, they're in love. Um, I don't buy the main couple, okay? I
Okay,
didn't
talk us
like
through it. Talk us through
feel
it.
I don't feel like the butterflies with them at all. Um, I don't know. I don't know what it is that doesn't necessarily connect with them both. I don't feel so for the first half, they worked really well together, right? They were working really well together. And then his mother dies, and we get this situation.
So that's the moment that you jumped ship.
Not necessarily, because I can understand the position that he's been put in. Like everything points in her direction. And he says later on to her, "Oh, I didn't believe for a second that you had done it." And I'm like, look, these two people have been working together. They understand each other and they've been working together for however many episodes and working really well together. And then all of a sudden, he's like, "I'm going to go off do my thing and she's going to go off do her thing." And it's like the plans aren't, you know, mixing together. And it's not until later on when you have that scene where he's been imprisoned, I think. And that's when they're like really, really steamed together to sort of bring people down.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know when
Mm-hmm.
this is like much, much later on in the
Yeah.
drama when he's
Mm-hmm.
been imprisoned and, you know, he's
Goes
faking that
crazy.
he's, yeah, 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 yeah. So I don't know what it is. I didn't quite I think like by the end of it, when he dies, you know, let's talk about that bit. But when he dies, I was like, I'm ambivalent. Like this is the best ending because she should be the one sitting on that throne until her son comes of age. She
So
is the most adequate person. Like I was like, I'm quite happy with this ending. Like it
so
doesn't
let's talk about this
bother me.
couple.
Yeah.
I love to talk about this couple. So um I think that in 2016, when I first watched it, and now I'm still really enjoying this couple. And I love the inks. Like when she almost like the lead up, right, to when she finds out that he's Tobajun. He's
Yeah.
like the prince, the crown prince's son, one of the
Yep.
royals. And her demeanor does a 180 And she
Yep.
starts shutting him down, and he's confused. He's like, why are you treating me this way? Because she was very open and honest and flirtatious with him and just sort of happy to see him. Like when she saw him in the past, she was like, oh my God, what are you doing here? Like really happy to see him. I'm eating all this shit up.
Oh, I loved
And
all of
oh my
that.
God, I'm
I
eating it up.
adored I
Yes.
adored all of that. I really, really did. Like all
So,
of that part, I was like,
right,
I'm in for this because this is
right.
great.
So then it keeps on going, and she's being mean to him, or not even just being mean. She's just being indifferent to him the whole time and not sort of giving him the time of day. And it's not until I think they're in the woods somewhere, and she finally reveals that she's not
She is,
Weiyoung
yeah. Yeah.
and that she's from this vanquished nation, that she's here for revenge and all this stuff. And you know, you're part of the family that did this to me and my family, and you're my enemy. And I was like, oh my God, like this is it. This is so great. I thought they would drag this out for longer,
Mm-hmm.
where he would be devastated that
Yep.
essentially the love of his life, this woman that he's been pursuing for so long, is like Romeo and Juliet, like the Capulets and Montagues. They can't be together because there's bad blood, there's beef between her and him and his family. They didn't drag it out for that long because they got together like immediately after that.
Yeah, they
That was
did.
like the
They did.
spark that they needed. So I was like, okay, fine. I'll allow it. So from then on, they're partners in crime, and they're very supportive of each other. No one can tear them asunder. And I think up until then, I'm like, we're doing well. We're doing well. The mom, the crown princess, gets murdered. And here is where I think I am like, Pobajin, this is like the wrong thing to do in this situation, because he is very hurt, scared, confused, and he doesn't trust her initially. And he has doubts about her because everyone says she's the murderer.
Yep.
And it just goes downhill from here. Like for me, like from here on out, when she becomes the palace maid and she is there by force helping Lee Chung-le at the wedding and marrying them off, I'm like, this is so angsty and terrible for these characters. Like, this is so high intensity. And I think I could never rebound if I was Lee Wei-young, if he had me whipped in the palace.
I see. That's my problem. Do you know what it is? I'm having the same thing again from 10 Miles of Peach Blossoms.
Oh
Like,
no.
do you know when I said that then you had that part where she was human and she was with him and he did all of these things and I
Yeah.
couldn't recover from that? It's the same damn thing again. Like, I can't, like, how their trust was so broken. Like,
Right.
how can you rebound from that? That is a betrayal. Like, and I could almost understand if it was revealed later on that they were working together. But he always says, oh, everything I did was to protect you. Bollocks. I mean, I'm sorry.
He has a really good line. After he comes home, after he has her whipped in the palace, he says to his dude, his subordinate, she'll never forgive me, because I can't even forgive myself, like for what I did. And I'm like, that's a very good line, sir. But you're right, because I would not be able to be like, yeah, let's get married after he had me whipped in the palace.
I mean, see, this is because I really, really liked them, and I liked how well they worked together, and how like they were partners, and she revealed this big thing to him.
Yes.
And yes, he was a little upset, but he stepped back and he thought about it and they like worked through it. And then we get to this situation, and I understand that's his mother. That is like really hard. But after
But his
the
mom was a
initial
bitch too.
shock,
We can talk about that, right?
That's
exactly,
true.
His mom was a
exactly,
bitch.
like she was. So good riddance. But like I understand that's his mother and that's not how he saw her. But after the initial shock, he should have been able to step back and like think about it. And then like he should have been able to, and like he can say all of these things. Oh, there's spies everywhere. I can't get a message to her. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can make it work. Like you're a freaking prince. You can make things work. If your uncle can make all of these shenanigans work, you can make it work as well. And that's like what's frustrating. It's like play the game. Don't sit back and expect things to happen. He was like, I think the uncle played a much better game than the prince ever did. And the only reason that they were able to tear him down is because Weiyoung is like even a better player than them. I think, like, personally, that's my, 2 cents on that specific thing. But I think that is all what, like, when the chain of events started happening,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you could have spoken to her together. You would have been able to come up with something different. Like, you would have been able to work, you know, on things and at least bring her in to what's happening. Like, don't just leave her in the dark to think that she's been abandoned by everybody. And now you hate her so much that you'll even like have her whipped and enjoy it. Like, because the look on his face like when she saw him was the look of like somebody who was like he was smiling. And I was like, I understand that you're like, you're fisting and you're making yourself bleed, but she's not seeing that. And I'm like, this is somebody who was supposed to be completely in love with you, that you trusted with some of your biggest secrets. And this is what you get in return. Like, I no, that's why by the end of it, I was like, that's fine. He can die. Like, it
She
doesn't bother me.
when he finally comes into the prison later, she got framed for
Yeah,
something
again.
and she again, and so she's in prison, sentenced to death again. And he comes into the prison and she's like, "What are you doing here? Aren't you happy that I'm about to die and all this stuff?" And he tells her the truth that, like, "Oh, I've been gunning for you this whole time. I married Lee Chung Lu after because of Toba Yu. I got coercion through Toba Yu and all this stuff, and I still love you." And she forgives him
So
immediately.
quickly.
I
Like
was
the next scene,
like,
they're
"Bitch."
all hugging. And I'm like, girl, have some self-respect.
That's
This
what I'm saying.
man beat you. Like,
That's what I'm saying. Like, I almost like I want like a
I want him
red
to suffer a
sleeve
little
type
bit.
thing
Yes.
where like she never tells him that she loves him ever again.
Yeah.
Like she kind of withholds something from him just
Yeah.
to be with him, but she's not gonna like give him her whole heart. You know what I'm saying?
But she does, and she completely forgives him for everything.
Yes.
Like it's
Yeah.
as if nothing has ever happened.
Uh-huh.
And it's
Uh-huh.
like they're right back to it. They're working together again. And I was like, oh, now you remember you can work well together? What happened in the last 10 episodes? Where did that evaporate to? And I
So
was like,
I can see where you're coming from, but like again, this is an infallible hero. Both of these people are infallible heroes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's in their nature to be forgiving, to be trusting,
Yeah.
and I can totally see why she did this as well.
clearly I'm into the gray characters, kill or be killed type of scenarios. That's what, makes me tick. Clearly, because I was
You
like,
did, but
these
great.
I
Speaking of great characters, so you didn't like Tobayu, Venice?
I thought his character was very interesting. I don't specifically like his character, but I appreciate that he's very clever, that he's plays the game pretty much throughout the whole show. Um so yeah, I don't necessarily like his character because I don't think he's a likable character. I mean, he's a narcissist, like how but I do think he makes for a very interesting character.
I forgot that he was going to two things. he was going to let her be killed on the way back from I don't know where they were. But they were going to be in a cavalcade with Tobajun.
They were
And-
coming back from the walled city that they were.
Yes, and Tobajun was injured, which Tobayu did himself. Like he's the one who like ordered
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
But
yeah,
anyway, so she was in the caravan with him in the carriage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was like, just kill the both of them on the way back. So I was like, okay, cool. So he was going to murder her, number one. Number two, when she was the honorary princess getting sent off to Chu, I think it was. Like, what's the name of the country?
King? Qing, right?
Oh, Qing. Okay.
Qing.
So she was getting sent off to get married in a peace treaty type deal, like just to buy time because they were going to go to war anyway.
Yeah.
They got poisoned by the people that were there with them from the other country. And he was literally like, just let her be raped.
Right.
He was willing to let her be raped just to like get
Yeah.
this whole thing thrown out.
Yeah.
He was literally telling his guy was like, let's go in and like stop this thing. They're under attack in there. He was like, no, wait.
Like,
and I was like, oh,
he's a terrible
remember
character.
can't rebound from that. Like to me, I'm like,
No.
murder, rape, can't rebound.
Yeah, you can't really.
No.
Yeah. I remember there was a short period of time when I first watched this before the whole, I think because I was mad at Tobajun, like doing the 180, that I actually liked them together, like Weiyoung and Tobayu. But then I forgot, like, then obviously the whole, like, what you just said happened.
You forget that he did all that.
Yeah. And then the second time, I'm like, I'm watching this a second time, and I'm like, how the heck did I ever like them together? For
Right.
Like
Can I say something though? That terrible couple. He's a terrible person. Terrible person. But the two of them had pretty good chemistry.
No,
like,
they did.
It kind of like sizzles and crackles. So I was like, I don't want you two together. But this chemistry, this like, back and forth between them, it's still kind of fun to watch, even though, he's a terrible human being.
They were evenly
matched. Exactly. I think it's because there is this ruthlessness in Weiyoung because of what she has lived through. I think she's a bit more brutal. Is it?
Oh, ruthless?
You know what I mean? Ruthless? Yeah, ruthless. She's a bit more ruthless in terms of she can see things and she is willing to do things to get to a certain place. Whereas Tobao June, the male lead, he's not like that. He's so goody two shoes that he's like,
Tobajun, like there's a couple of parts where Tobajun and her are walking around or something, and she goes to Tobajun, why is Tobayu kind of sketchy? Like, you don't think he ordered you to get killed, right? Like, it's super like this whole situation that we just went through is super sus because these couple of people are the only people that knew we were going to go through this pass. They knew the time that we were going to go through there, blah, blah, blah. Like, she's laying it out very gentle, like. And Tobajun is like, I don't want to think about that right now. Like, he's in denial.
Right.
That his family's trying to kill him.
I'm sorry, but he's a bit of an idiot when it comes to that whole situation.
And it's not just Tobajun.
He's like his grandfather.
Right.
I mean, that's the same characteristic as the grandfather. The grandfather couldn't wrap his head around the fact that his family was murdering other members of the family all the time. And he's the same way. He's the same way as his grandfather.
He wants to think the best in people.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is why Weiyoung is the best one at the end standing. She's the only one deserving to stand on that throne. And she will shape that kid into a good emperor.
Speaking of the kid, I still have no idea what happened to Tobayu's kid. It was never mentioned.
What happened there?
Like, it was never even I think the theory
Nothing.
with I remember researching this when I finished the drama, and I think the theory going around at the time was the servant that was following her around like raised him as a commoner and like
Oh,
never revealed that this kid was this
best thing for him.
narcissistic ruler person.
It
The
really
best thing
is
for
the
But
him.
like
best
it
thing.
never
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
said. And I remember also thinking like people were saying, no, it's the kid walking down the aisle with her at the end. And everybody's like, no,
What?
that's her
No,
own kid.
that's
That's her
Weiyoung's
own
kid.
child. What are you
What do
talking
you
about?
mean?
Also, on the second watch, that timeline of when he died and how old that kid is, that doesn't match up at all.
Okay, so they
When
said
he died.
what they could suppress the poison for what, 5 to 10 years?
He died
Yeah,
after 5
anything.
years. He died
Yeah.
after 5 years, and that kid was older than 5 before he died.
No, I thought that kid looked 5.
I
Oh,
thought he was like
I
five
thought
or
he looked
six.
older. I thought he looked at least 7.
You're saying
But
he died after 5 years? I thought he died
I
within
thought
that
he
time
died was
frame. Five to
I thought
six,
he
five to
died
ten
at
years.
5, but I could be wrong.
Did they actually give you like a? I don't think they
They gave
actually
a
say
range, but I
specific.
thought they said something around he died at 5 years, but I could be wrong.
Oh,
I
I
could be
thought
wrong.
I thought it was within the range of five to
Oh,
ten years.
okay. I don't know. Either
So
way,
that's why I was
people
like,
were
that kid
like,
is at least 5, 6 years old.
yeah. Well, either way, people were like assuming it was her kid, like Changru's kid, and we're like, no.
Fuck out of here.
No,
No.
because that
So
kid would be considered a traitor to the crown. Like he would have been
exactly.
killed either way. So
Yeah.
it's a good thing. I quite like the idea that the servant took the kid away and raised it as a normal kid because that's probably the best chance that kid's gonna get. To be
Yeah.
honest,
Yeah.
coming from the parents that he did.
Right.
So yeah.
Can
What
we
else
talk
do you
about
guys? I
what you thought about Changru when she like turned into Changru?
I
Oh yeah.
I
Why
was
don't you
like,
guys take this one away?
I don't swear a lot on this podcast, but excuse my language. I was just like, fuck this shit. I'm done over here. Like, I am just done. Like, why would you do that? Why? Like,
I remember when this drama ended and that girl, that actress, like came out the other side of this drama. It came out later that like she couldn't book like a good character.
Oh.
Like everything sent to her was a villain character after this drama for a good period of time. Like now she does other stuff and now she plays leads and like has a variety of things. But like apparently when this first ended, and this is like I saw this randomly on the internet. It could have been a rumor, but apparently what happened is like the script she got after this because the switch was so unexpected and so good in what the audience thought is everything she got sent was villain characters for like a good year or two after this.
So I saw the pieces start to move. I saw that she was getting jealous, and I was like, jealousy is a dangerous thing. Like, I saw that. I thought that she might betray her, but then I also thought that she wasn't going to stay in that betrayal, if that makes sense. Because I was like, look, she's strong, she's smart. I'm like, thinking she's going to do the betrayal and then like think twice and think that losing everything for freaking man is not worth it. One that doesn't even like you at that is not worth it. But then she stays in that. And then she blames Weiyoung for everything. And I'm like, what is up with these people blaming Weiyoung for other people's choices? Like, it's got nothing to do with her. So then I was just mad at that point. Like, I thought, I will say, very well written because it wasn't something that like I said, I started seeing it. I thought she may betray her, but I didn't think she was going to stay in that betrayal. I thought she was going to repent and like almost become like a double agent of sorts. That's like what I was
Oh,
wanting.
wow.
Nice.
That's what I was wanting. That is not what I got. So I was like, good on the writers for doing something different.
There's
I don't know.
also no rebounding. Like at one point there this was early on in the show, like the brother's baby mama, who was Lee Wei Young's servant, was killed
Yeah.
while she was pregnant, and then
Oh
she
yeah,
uses
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
body,
yeah.
right? So that whole ploy, um Lee Changlu, like, she trips her own sister
Yep.
in that moment, like by the little
By the
pond or
river.
whatever that's in their
Yeah,
house, in the
yeah.
complex in the house. And it injures, like, her sister falls flat on her face on stone,
Yeah.
and it injures her face, like it cuts her face. That's her full-blooded sister, like, that she did that against.
Right.
It could have maimed her for life.
Mm-hmm.
um there's no, like, that's evil. I think that's just,
Mm.
there was no redemption after they revealed that she kind of piggybacked off of Lee Wei Young's
Yeah.
plan and
Oh
made it
yeah.
worse by tripping her own sister, or like
I
knocking.
think
I guess she had a servant do it, like pull her foot out from under her, and then she
Yeah.
fell.
It was a servant.
yeah.
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 Mm-hmm.
I think for me, the name of this game, that is the Princess Weiyoung, is there is no redemption for anybody. Like everybody goes past the point of where they could not bring any of these characters back. The only, like, the characters that I really liked were like Wei Young's mum. She was lovely. The grandma, I love the grandma because she was just like loving on
Mm-hmm.
Wei Young. The only actual nice people in the show, I suppose. What did you guys think of like the auntie princess and the brother and Wei Young's brother?
So the first time I watched this, I did not like the princess. I thought she was very annoying.
Yeah.
The second time, I appreciated her more because I liked
Mm.
her with Ling Ming Mida a lot more.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I think the second time around, I realized how, I mean, we know all these people were obsessed with Wei Young. He was obsessed too with Wei Young. And I'll tell you
Everybody
why
is.
when I tell you the background of this, because it's crazy. But
I can't wait.
I realized I don't know if I just didn't catch this in my first watch, but like I don't think I remembered how obsessed he was with Lee Wei Young until I rewatched
Mm.
this. So I liked the fact that the princess, even if I did still find her a little annoying, but I think it was more of like her bubbly personality, and because underneath that she was still like she was kind of like Lee Wei Young in a way, where she was like, I'm going to get what I want to get. And if people I care about get hurt in the process, you're going down. And I liked that. I think I noticed that more in my second watch of like how strong of a character she
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
That I don't think I caught on, or I don't remember catching the first time. So I actually liked their couple a lot more because I think she grew a lot in the drama, and then he also grew a lot by just being like starting out as this like adopted person who didn't have anybody in the household on his side except maybe his mother. And then Lee Wei Young comes along and kind of helps him and supports him, and then they create this whole relationship together. um and then he finds out he's part of this like other country and then goes and finds himself there. And so I liked his story and their couple story progression a lot more this time around than I think I did in the first time. I don't remember really caring about their relationship in the
Yeah.
first watch.
Okay,
Yeah.
so two things. I
Yes.
fast forwarded through all their shit. Okay, I did not, not care one bit about Aunt Dee Dee and leaving their relationship, even though in a sense, on paper, I appreciate it. I like them together. I want them to be together. Do I want to sit through every single one of their little interactions and him teaching her how to shoot an arrow and her just being a little punk ass bitch and like messing with him every chance that she gets? I do not. So I fast forwarded through all of their stuff. Second of all, there are a couple of times when characters will say that Lee Ming-de is handsome and that he's good looking. I personally don't see it. And I was sitting there watching the show thinking this in the family room of my house. And my sister walks by and sees Lee Ming-de on the screen. And she goes, that guy's kind of ugly. And I was like, oh my God. As I'm thinking to myself, why do they think he's so attractive? I'm not actually sensing it. So that's me being shallow and my sister reading my mind.
He hasn't done a
at the same
drama
time.
since it.
No kidding.
I don't think
No
so.
way.
I think I looked him up after I started watching it, and I don't think he's done a drama since.
Wow.
Let me look it up again. I could be wrong, but I'm almost positive.
Oh my God.
Oh wait, never mind. I lied.
He has.
I
No,
lied.
he's done quite
I
a
lied,
few.
but he's never done like. I mean, I haven't seen most of these, but he hasn't done like anything more than supporting roles.
Oh, okay.
But I also honestly too, because I'm looking at his picture on MDL, I think it's the hair.
Oh, do you think it's his hair in the show?
I think it's his hair because he looks a lot better in the picture on MDL. Personally,
okay.
I think it was the I had a problem.
Do you
with
think it's
his
wig?
I had a problem with his hairline. With like,
do we need?
It
wait.
was like weirdly like parted. It was like a weirdly parted, like really high up bangs.
Yeah.
And then I honestly think it was the wig in my mind.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. It could have been his face too. True. So third of all, you touched on like, that Aunt Dee Dee will get, it's just going for what she wants and she knows what she wants. And a lot of these characters are fighters, but they want to be lovers. And others characters are lovers and they have to be fighters. Yeah, and they want to be fighters. And that's I think a big part of why we feel certain things about these characters too, is that Toba Jun is a lover, not a fighter, but he has to fucking fight. Like that's the whole thing of the show too. And Lee Weiyoung is a fighter, and because of the romance, she's kind of swayed into being a lover for like large parts of the show. But you're like, girl, you gotta like get it together. You gotta fight.
Get your revenge on, girl. Like,
yeah. People are coming at you. So at Toba, you again fighter, but like because of Wei Young, he's kind of like trying to be a lover, and you're like, stop, it's not working. So you're kind of like, and all of these characters are in flux because of like this push and pull at all parts of the show.
The thing is, you can be both. You can be both.
Absolutely.
It's just that this drama doesn't quite get the balance.
No.
Being both right.
I think I don't think it ever meant to get the nuance. You know what I'm saying? Of like, oh, they're a lover and a fighter.
Yeah.
Right.
Mind you, right? I came at this right as I finished Crooning Palace, and as a journey to love, where you have these power couples just basically taking down people and left, right, and center, who are lovers and fighters, and they do both very intensely. So I think it was a bit of a throw back. And again, like I said, it's really hard. I feel like this whole thing, I've just been crapping on this show. It's not that at all. It's very much I think like I said, I still feel like I enjoyed it enough, but I feel like, I feel like there's a lot more there that could have been done better. And like I said, I forget that this is a 2016 drama and things were just done differently in that time period. Not that necessarily it isn't good or it's not better or worse. It's just what it was at the time, back then. But yeah,
what I really like though is that Toba Jun is such a green flag.
Yes.
And
is he
though?
Yeah.
He's constantly saving her. Constantly, like without any provocation, he's gonna save her. He's gonna love on her. And
Are we just walking past the beatings and all of those
oh
things
no,
that he
I'm the
did?
one who brought up the beatings. I'm the one who's questioning it for sure. But overall, even later on in life, later on in the plot, he's like, he gives her the antidote. You know what I'm saying? To the poison. He's like, you live, I'll die. Like, it's fine. Like, it's not even a thing, without even thinking of like what's gonna happen to the kingdom. You know, like
Right. Well, even the
whatever.
minister, when he was
He
dying
never.
on the chair, he was like, why did you give the antidote to her? If you had eaten it yourself, like, we would have been better off. The country would have been better off.
Yeah.
But he never cared for the country. Like he said it time and time again. Like it. I'm here
Never
because I
wanted
have
that
to be.
position. It's not that he didn't
He
care for
never
the country.
wanted it.
He never wanted the position.
He wanted, yeah, he cared for the
So
people. He just never wanted to be king. And he said that the entire time. He was pushed into being king due to the shenanigans of his family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
I
that's
will
what I mean
say
by he's a green flag.
the I also, I mean, I did remember he went crazy in the last episode, but I
Oh yeah.
forgot how well acted that was.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh crap, I forgot how well this was acted. Oh my God.
yeah.
Also, they're
It
married
was.
in real life, if nobody has said that. Just for the audience knowledge, Tiffany Tong and the male lead are married in real life.
I still
So
think she
that's
had better chemistry with the other guy.
Stop. So
I mean,
for those who don't know, Vanis, you might have seen him in the 2001 Meteor Garden
yeah,
as part of
that's
F4.
yeah. That's where he got
That's his
really
claim to
famous.
fame. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because he's
And
clearly he has.
Taiwanese. That's another thing. Is
he's
like he's
Taiwanese. Yeah.
Taiwanese, so he kind of like, their whole drama politics with all of that stuff.
Also, he just doesn't age. I don't
Yes.
know if you follow him on
Yes.
Instagram, but he just does not age. Yeah.
Whatsoever.
What is he in his 40s?
At least.
He looks
At
the
least.
same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he must be older, isn't he? He's at
Let me
least
look.
in
Let me
in
look.
his 40s. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's 45.
Yeah.
45. Yeah, he's looked the same for the last decade plus.
Yep.
So, should we let Caitlin go and tell us about the thing that she's been excited to tell us about?
Yes. Oh, the only other downside to the show to me is that Weiyoung is a little bit of a damsel in distress for like the whole show.
Yeah. It
That's
also
like,
did not need to be 54 episodes.
no, it didn't. No, it didn't.
Like
Oh,
they
no,
could have taken
no.
one of those jail times out of the way and it would have been totally fine. She went
The
to jail
king
three
literally
times.
the king she keeps showing up in front of the king for getting framed, and he's like,
Yeah.
why are you here again?
Yeah.
The king is like, I don't understand, why are you here? Why does
Hmm.
this keep happening to you?
This could have
Right.
easily been 36 episodes.
Yeah.
Like, we
Yeah.
could have brought it way, way down. Way, way
Also,
down.
I remember the first time I watched this too, going back to Chongru really quick. I mean, this is my thought, like rewatching it too, is I remember the first time I was like, damn, she's gone really early. Like they took her down really early. And then the second time around, Chanlei, and if you can hear my cat.
No, we can't. I can't.
My cat
hear it.
is like, I don't know what she's doing.
Oh, whoa, she's running
She's
around.
She's going.
I don't know what she's doing.
Oh my god. Okay.
But the second time around, I'm like, Changlei, in my opinion, and you could say no on this, but especially after Changru kind of got like exiled to that hut thing,
Yeah.
I feel like Changlei and Changru kind of took a backseat.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
And
yeah.
then like the
Yeah.
emperor became the bad guy in a sense because she kept going to jail after that. But like I forgot that kind of happened. I'm like, you know what? They really like took a back seat
Because she settles into married life.
Yeah.
But
And she's like,
what
I
she
got
wanted.
nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I'm
Yeah.
good. That's all she wanted, was to marry him. Literally
Right.
all she wanted. You know, Weiyoung was in what she considered she needed to be. You know, he was acting all in love with her and completely horrible to Weiyoung. This is exactly what she wanted. Why should she care? Like she's got
Right.
what she wants. She's happy. Um, I will say when they've got the whole Changru and they kind of pretend that she's dead for a little bit, I never believed that for a single second because that was like far too easy
Mm.
for her to go. So
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, she's not dead. She's
Yeah.
definitely not dead. Like that's so yeah. I don't know.
Fake deaths, the whole 9 yards. Like this
Yeah.
show has
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
This club has everything.
Okay, so I found this. I went and Googled this to make sure I had it right, but I remember
Okay.
looking this up when I first watched this.
Okay.
Okay, so this is a whole long thing, so I'm gonna try to summarize it.
Perfect.
So basically, Princess Weiyoung is adapted from a book, which this show is completely different from the book because in the book they
Oh.
had like reincarnation and time travel and everything in it.
Oh
Um,
wow.
Also
Give me
in the
that
book,
story, please and thank you.
that was never gonna happen in 2016.
No, I know, I know.
Also in the book, she ends up with Lee Ming-de
Fuck out of here.
and not with Toba Jun, according to what I found. And I
Oh.
remember that. So also the drama ends up leaving a lot of the book storyline away because of plagiarism controversy and stuff like that. So it ended up actually resembling a lot of actual history more than the book even did. So, okay, so the main character,
the cat, bro. Like I see the cat.
I don't know what she's
going
doing.
wild.
Okay, so Li Weiyoung, she's based off a person called Feng Shinir. I'm just gonna say Feng for short. So Feng is Empress Dowager Feng, and they don't really know much historically wise around this character, apparently, but she was never the princess of Northern Leong or anything like that. She was actually the granddaughter of the emperor of another province. And her father was a provincial governor. And so when she was young, the province was conquered by the Toba clan.
Oh, okay.
Of this
There
other,
they are.
Yeah. So her grandfather and her dad both died in this takeover, and
Okay.
she was sent to the palace as a maid.
Oh.
So for the Emperor Toba Tao, which was the grandfather emperor.
Right.
So now she's in the palace as a maid. And fortunately for her, in this historical time that I'm reading, she had an aunt who is a concubine of this emperor and is actually favored by the emperor.
Okay.
So instead of doing like maid chores, she basically stays with her aunt and gets to read and gets to study and like kind of more of than just a maid. And then when she's less than 10, she gets sent to Toba Jun's palace.
Oh, wait. So she was real young.
Real young.
Oh, so she wasn't even 10 yet.
Yeah. So in the hopes that she would be like a study buddy for him.
Oh, well, okay.
So they kind of grew up together. And
or groomed her.
Well, he's 12 as well. Like he's
oh, okay.
They're
okay.
the same
okay.
age.
I mean, you can still groom someone for somebody else, but all right. So they were
both
study buddies.
I mean, who wasn't groomed in historical times?
True.
Very true. Okay, so she's 10, he's
so
12.
they're growing up together. They're studying together.
Uh-huh.
So when Toba Jun is 12, his grandfather is murdered. The emperor grandfather is murdered.
Grandpa, yeah.
Yeah, by the eunuch that serves him.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
It's all coming together.
Yeah, and so the eunuch lies and says that Toba Yu is the heir to the throne. Even though the emperor says that Toba Jun would be the heir.
Wow.
So when Toba Jun finds out that Toba Yu took the throne, he's pissed. And
the 12-year-old is pissed.
The 12-year-old is pissed. And Feng, like, is there to comfort him and whatever. And basically Toba Yu, like, he's like, Toba Jun's just a child. Like, I'm
right. Like, what's he gonna do?
I don't have to worry about him, blah, 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 blah. So, like a year later, not even, the evil eunuch that murdered the emperor decides he needs to kill Toba Yu as well.
Oh, weird. Okay.
Because
He's
he
on a
wants to,
rampage.
yeah. So he
This
wants to
eunuch.
kill, this eunuch. So he wants to he wants to own and like control this like northern province they're in.
The eunuch?
Using Toba Ju as a puppet emperor.
Oh.
So he wants to kill you in order to put the 12-year-old on the throne so he can control him.
Okay, got you. Okay.
So then Toba Yu gets murdered, and Toba Jun becomes the emperor at like 13.
Okay.
And then Toba Jun takes Fang as his noble consort at like 13, making her going from a maid to the most powerful woman in his harem overnight because of this whole murder plot by the eunuch.
At 12 years old.
12 years old, yeah. So at first, when he's emperor, he's only basically the puppet. On the side, though, Fang is like suggesting things and like kind of playing the game a little bit. And they kind of hatch a plan together to get rid of this eunuch.
Yeah, they got it.
And she suggests it. So a little while after, the eunuch and 3 generations of his family are all murdered.
See, I want this story.
Yeah.
I want
3 generations.
Story.
3 generations, according to what I'm reading. So basically, they kind of rule together. They kind of fall in love, reminisce on their childhood. His mom died when he was 10, so like that type of stuff. So,
okay.
She becomes empress, and she is a granddaughter of the conquered kingdom, status of the maid, not able to bear him any children, though.
Oh.
She's also a different ethnic clan than Toba Jun's clan.
Right.
So he still chooses her, though. So there's a whole thing of like, you shouldn't
then he loved
marry
her.
her, you shouldn't do whatever.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
He still has to continue the bloodline, though, because she can't have kids. So he takes on concubines.
Okay.
But he really only truly loves Fang. So he has concubines, but she's the empress. Blah, 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 blah. One concubine, we'll call her concubine Li. She's a government official. She actually is the real life Li Weiyoung, Li Changlung combination. Like, that's what she was. She was the one who gave him his son, Hong, who we saw in the end of the drama.
Okay.
So his concubine gave him the son.
Okay, got you.
And as tradition states, the woman who gives the birth to the crown prince has to die, and she is told to commit suicide and is honored as Empress Young. For example, for some reason, that was tradition in that province.
I think it's because she can, from what I gather,
sun to get power.
She can use the sun to get power, and to avoid that, they basically take that son, and the Empress would raise that as her son, and to make sure that that concubine would not get access to that, they, send her off, basically.
Yeah. So that's exactly what happened.
Just never win in the freaking palace.
So that's exactly what happens. She adopts him as her own and raises him, and that's who you see at the end. So basically at the very end, though, at the old age of 25, Toba Jun dies from an illness.
25?
3 days later, all his things must be burned as per tradition. And as stated, for the days afterwards, all you hear was crying, and all you'd see was Empress Fang crying. She ran into the fire, hoping to be with him, but she was pulled away, although injured, and she became Empress Dowager, ruling as regent for her stepson. According to this statement, these are not my words, this is what written, she was a boss queen in and of herself. And she's very lucky in terms of the history of empresses. She was loved and respected by her husband. At the end of their love story, but not the end of her life, she lives to be 48, being
Oh,
in power
wow.
for most of those years. So he died at 25, she died at 48. Yeah. So basically that's what happens. And so
Wow.
This
and
this
according to the book this was originally written on, that is not what happens in the book.
I like this story much more. And actually, it's reminding me, I recently listened to a podcast about another Chinese empress, and she's called, well, actually, yeah, Empress. I think she made Empress. She's called Empress Siqi. And basically, she started off as somebody who her father uh, didn't have any sons, so he would teach her a lot of things, and from a very young age she would basically learn a lot of politics and stuff like that, which was a big no-no, but she would just know this stuff. And it was at the time where the West really wanted to like do things in China that China didn't want necessarily want to do. But basically, short story goes, she gets put into the palace as a concubine, and she's like trying to like make the emperor listen to her on like her thoughts of politics, and he doesn't want anything to do with her. She makes friends with the empress at the time, and they become very, very close friends. The emperor dies, and they basically, that concubine has a child, but she stays alive. And the empress and the concubine rule together as both empress dowagers. And like the
Nice.
whole story is fascinating. She ends up living until she was like 80, and she
Oh,
controls the court, but like
Wow.
she plays them like fiddles. It's like a brilliant, brilliant story. I loved listening to that podcast. It was so interesting to hear like the whole story. So this is reminding me a little bit of that. It's just like women like getting power here and there when they can, and it's I love when that happens. So I
Also,
like
it's
that
like
story
very
better.
unclear if Toba Jun died of illness or if he was poisoned. Like, no one knows.
Yeah.
hmm.
So
Wow.
that he died at 25. So people are like, is it illness or was it poison? We don't know. But that was pretty much what I found, and I remember reading that when I first watched this sometime later. I'm not really sure where.
No, that is quite good. I did actually quite like that. I like that story. Apart from the age, we could move the ages a little bit, and that
Right.
I would approve. I think I would like that story a bit, um, quite a bit. I think so. Guys, we've been
Impressive.
here for a hot minute.
Yeah. Yes.
Have we got any last thoughts at all for this
No,
drama? For
I was just wanting to hear your thoughts because all I was doing was sending gifts in the group chat
you were
that would just make you upset. And not like give you any clues as to what was gonna happen.
no, no.
Um
Jess was not being very
I was
helpful when it
no.
came to this. She would send me these gifts of like raging fires and things like this. And I'm like, yeah, thank you. That's how I'm feeling right now. Is it going to get any better? Am I going to rage a little bit less at any point in this drama? And the answer was no. No. I will say it was very satisfying to see Weiyoung with her kid walking up those steps as Empress Dowager. I was like,
Mhm.
Yes.
you go, girl. I
And
was
then she
like,
turns around, she got like the smoky eye going and like her
Yep.
hair.
yeah,
It was like you're
stunning,
like,
stunning.
yes.
Yes, yes. I was like, great. I love this. Give her all she's worth, because the clearly she's the only person capable of doing this job. So let her be the Empress Dowager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean that's
Yeah.
the whole thing, right? Was that all of these characters that wished her ill, thought Wei Young was bad luck, like now she's Empress. She has
And you're all dead.
more power than they ever imagined. They're all dead.
Yep.
All of the boys that were vying for the throne, were trying so hard to win the favor of the grandpa emperor. She got what they wanted. They're
Yeah.
dead,
Yep.
and she's the Empress Dowager.
And she did it with a lot more class than any of them did.
Yeah, she's. It's very. That's why I said like it's the ending is bittersweet because her lover dies. But she's has all of this prestige and she's ruling the country that slaughtered her country. So
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
how do you
I
like them
will say-
apples?
Yeah. I did appreciate that. Like I said, I'm not that bothered that he died.
Yeah, and her
Because, like-
progeny is on the throne.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like her
In the context
line-
of the show, her
Yeah.
spawn is
Yeah.
gonna
yeah,
rule.
her, yeah,
Fun.
her
Yeah.
line's gonna carry on. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm more than happy with the ending. Like I was like, it doesn't really bother me that he popped off. Like they had a good run.
They had a good
me.
run. I think the show takes place over what, like 2 years, a year and a half or so.
Had to be longer than that.
No,
Surely
I
it's
think
gotta
it
be
was
longer than that.
no, I think it was like a year and a half.
I mean,
Oh,
they
wow.
put her in prison longer. Like Jesus Christ, that's
They
a
put her in
roller
prison.
coaster for
They're
our
like
homegirl.
investigate. They're like investigate this, and then they'll be like, in 3 days she dies.
Yeah,
She's
It
back
wasn't
in
that
prison,
long.
y'all.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Good stuff.
I mean,
Any
like by
last-
the end, it's definitely more than a year and a half.
Oh yeah, no.
yeah,
I
yeah,
just
yeah,
mean
like
yeah.
live until
I guess
5 years. But
right. In the full thing, I think it's what 6, 7 years.
Yeah, maybe.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad we watched
I
this.
will say,
Same.
I will say, I'm not mad that I watched it. It's not like one of those that I come out the other end and I'm like, give me all my hours back. It's not that at all.
Seems like it because you're very upset. You're very upset.
It's not that at all. And
Liliana,
mainly
Liliana, you're upset.
Oh, I'm still mad.
You're
like
mad.
I still
Yeah.
disliked a lot of it, but I think it's maybe because I could see the potential in it and I'm annoyed that it could have been so much more than what it is. And again, I forget it's a 2016 drama, so context, but I still loved it for not loved it. I won't go that far. I still enjoyed it. I still enjoyed it for Weiyoung's character. Like I would watch it again. I don't really rewatch, but I would watch it again for her character and for her acting, not necessarily for anything else. Like everything else I could take or leave. Like it doesn't really bother me either way, but her character, I liked her journey. If I forget that middle part where she became a little bit of a lovesick puppy for a bit and forgot to, do her
Forgot to
thing,
watch her 6.
then yeah, exactly. Her
Forgot
6,
to watch her
7, her 8,
conversations. Yeah.
all of it.
Right.
Yeah. If I forget that bit, chef's kiss on her character. So, it's not, again, not one of those. I have dramas where I was like, I will never even watch a clip of this ever again. This is not that drama at all. So even though I've probably, crapped on it a lot this episode.
You shit on it. You shit on it.
There's still things I enjoyed about it. So, and her character being one of them.
It's good. It's solid. It's dramatic. It's just not. I think the plot doubling back on itself is my
Right.
main issue because it's just I think it's too long and they get framed for too much. Like it just keeps repeating. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, that is it. That is it. Caitlin, any last words?
I'm really glad I rewatched this because I forgot a bunch of stuff. like I remembered like the beginning and like who ended up together and then the end and what happened at the end, but like in the middle I forgot a bunch of stuff. But I'm really glad I rewatched it just because like I appreciate like I haven't seen some of these actors in dramas since then in a while. So now I want to like, it also like, and I texted this in the group chat. It also makes me want to go watch another one of these like palace shenanigan dramas because I just love them so much. Like I
Oh,
for
I'm ready for another one, but
yeah,
the one that I have on my list for this year is the story of Minglan. So
well,
that's
that's a
gonna
long
be,
one. That's a long one.
So many
yeah.
people
But
have told me to watch that one on
yeah.
TikTok.
Also, the other one that I've heard, I mean, I haven't watched it, but like the other one that everybody says to watch is the Yangshi
The
Palace.
story, yeah, Yanchi
I think
Palace.
that's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
one I've
yeah.
watched. I told you guys the
Yeah.
story that I watched it on Netflix,
Yeah,
but they chopped up the episodes.
yeah.
And so
Yeah,
I was like,
really,
what's
really.
going on? It was not the full uncut thing.
Right. But
Yeah.
and that was still I
I
still was surprised when that came out as being the most Googled show ever on Google in 2020 when it aired. And I'm like, how is a Chinese drama the most Googled show when they don't have Google in China? Like, how is that
Uh,
possible?
the word
Um,
censorship is censored in China.
exactly. So,
How?
yeah, so but there's like a bunch of other one like kind of like that. Just like I'm a sucker for those types of dramas with like concubines and family drama. Um,
Yes.
so like for example, The
I
Sword and
think,
Brocade, I have not
yeah, I was
watched
gonna
yet.
say, I think you would really like The Sword and the Brocade. And that is one where the character stays strong and smart and consistent throughout the whole drama. Like
Mhm.
I freaking adore her character so much. She's so like I can't even, yeah. And it's Tan Song Yoon. Like she plays the
Mhm.
character so well. But it's the fact that throughout the whole thing she doesn't want to get married, she has to, and she's like, fine, if I'm here I'm gonna make the best of it. And it's like it's her playing everybody else, and I'm like, she is a master at this and I adore it. So I really, really loved The Sword of the Brocade. Really, really, really liked it. I didn't really care much for the male lead or like that storyline. Like it is one of the slowest building romances I've ever watched. But again, it's one of
Whoa.
those dramas.
That's saying
Yeah,
something.
it's slow. It's slow. But it's one of those where it's like it's her story. Like I can really care. If I were to
Mhm.
rewatch that, I would probably skip a lot of like his stuff and what's happening with him because it's really not that like important. But I would like rewatch every single one of her scenes again because I just love how she plays everybody else. So yeah, The Sword of the Brocade is a really good one, I think.
Yeah. So that's what happens when I watch this type of drama. I want to immediately watch something exactly right like it.
See, I'm in the middle of watching both Joy of Life and Nirvana in Fire, so I'm
Mhm.
covered for the time being. Like I'm covered. Yeah. Um so yeah, that's it. I don't think we've got anything else to say. We're done. Let's move it along.
We're done.
I will say, guys, this drama has broken my trust in both of you a little bit because you should have known what I was going in. Thinking, I was thinking I was gonna get this epic thing. I'm still okay that I watched it though. I am.
Epic thing. Like what were you expecting? Like we didn't tell you that much about it.
No, but I don't know. But I was expecting. I don't know. Again, I keep coming back to it, but it's that middle part that really, really infuriated me to no end, where she forgets who she is, and I'm like, I don't, you know,
Okay, she doesn't
so
literally forget who she is. She just, gets a little complacent.
Right.
yeah, which is dangerous, and she should know that because that's how her grandma and her father got, knocked off.
True. True.
People get complacent, they die. Like, I mean, it's anyway. Should we leave this here?
Yeah.
We should
Yeah,
probably
yeah,
move on.
yeah.
That's it, guys. This has been our chat on the Princess Weiyoung. Let us know what you thought. Have you watched this? Come and chat to any of us. You can chat to any of us. We pass messages between, the three of us. So feel free to do that. And we shall see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.